I skip that. Section G, resolutions presented by board members. Let me get there, this is. All right. So we have approval of board member request from Mrs. Warning to approve reimbursement in the amount of $8,671.27 for various food-related items purchased on her own for the district's backpack program. Do you want to just kind of explain that for everybody?
I recognize the fact the comments have been made and issues have been raised about spending of taxpayers' funds without board approval, and I completely understand the concern over this issue. However, I would like to point out that funds spent on this backpack program were not taxpayers' dollars. The program is very fortunate to have received donations from very generous donors who are instrumental in the success of the backpack program. To date, the program has received over $23,000 in donations. Donations that have been received are to be used for the program, which means no taxpayer dollars are used. The cash outlays that I have presented the receipts for still leaves $14,000 in the backpack fund, which was established by Mr. Schott. I just want to emphasize that these funds are generous donations and not taxpayers' money. If there's any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them.
Okay. Well, let's first go to our attorney, because I do think that there's a problem.
Is there a motion or?
No, it's not an
this
action
is
item.
just an
It's
item
not
for
an action
discussion.
item, not until next week. Technically, there were donations to the backpack program, but those donations are going to the Gateway School District, not our Gateway Education Foundation. Is that correct?
That's right.
So technically, it's indistinguishable from taxpayer contributions.
It's not that it's indistinguishable, it's in the general fund, which is commingled with taxpayer money.
Yes.
It's not separated.
So
When
from-
a donation is made, it becomes the property of Gateway School District.
Okay, we had a meeting when one of our executive sessions, when it was brought up last year at this time, we had packed 1,235 backpacks. We had one school for the whole year. So far this year, we have packed almost 5,500 backpacks, and we still have 2.5 months to go. Nothing has came from the district, and when the program started, I know we talked to Dr. Short. The board said as long as, they were fine bringing in 4 elementary schools, as the principals had reached out to Ms. Hoffner asking if they could participate for the needs of the students. They said as long as it would not cost the district any money. So I'm not saying, but I did go out and get donations, so there would be no turmoil to the district with having to spend any of the district's money. I was not told that a credit card had to be used till after I had given Mr. Schott the receipts, and that's when it came to a head. And once, if you agree, I read the memorandum that you said that you had sent an email telling me about that. I don't remember the email. If you could give it to me, I would appreciate that.
Can we back up a little bit? Who's in charge of the backpack program at Gateway?
Jen Hoffner,
Did you ask Jen Hoffner permission to purchase products for the backpack program?
correct.
You're saying you did ask her permission to purchase?
Yes.
And she gave you permission to purchase
Correct.
product?
We had a startup date of 10/25, which I had told the board, and we had no supplies, anything for the students.
So, did you ask Mr. Schott before you purchased any product for the backpack program if you were authorized to do that, or if you had any procedures in place to do that?
I did not, because in the past, we had used donations from what we had received.
So up until the time when you purchased items, are you saying that nothing was purchased at all? Or Mr.
Correct.
Schott, can you answer that? Before Mrs. Warning made her purchases, have you purchased anything at all for the backpack
No,
program?
not in terms of and there was specifically a total of $23,250 that was actually donated and deposited into the general fund for that. Up to that point, we have not expending of those funds. We have expended currently 3 purchases via the district business office that totaled $776.56, which leaves a remaining balance of $22,473.44 of those deposited funds.
I think don't you have copies of the receipts? I think some board members had asked for copies of the receipts. Do we have those?
Yes, I do.
Yes, please, Mr. McIntyre.
Mr. Schott, what would the normal protocol be for such expenditures?
All expenditures go through the district business office. We initiate every purchase throughout the district, whatever the case may be. Typically, we utilize a purchase order system where we control the purchase, sending that out for that. Depending on the type of vendor utilized, some of them do not accept the purchase order, which we do have district procurement cards. It's our purchasing alternative that we've utilized. In this situation, the 3 purchases I previously mentioned, we had to utilize the procurement card, but we did place the order. My department placed the order. One gentleman in Mr. Brown's department went and picked up the order. Sometimes he was able to present the procurement card, scanned it through, complete the transaction, to bring a receipt back to us for that.
I would assume that Mrs. Hoffner would be aware of this protocol.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Have we checked with Mrs. Hoffner to make sure that she's aware of this is how spending is supposed to be incurred?
Yes.
And whether or not she actually did give permission or, clearance to make these purchases, or was there maybe just some kind of a misunderstanding?
I actually have an email from Jen Hoffner, and I can read it. It says, "I did not give authorization for anyone to make purchases on behalf of the district for the Gateway Backpack Program."
Okay.
When
Now-
was that sent, can I ask?
That was February 19th.
Just a couple more questions for Mr. Schott. The total here was $8,671. Was that all presented to you at one time in receipts?
No, the bulk of it was presented initially up front, and then I believe there was 2 other bundles.
At the time of the first receipt, meeting that you had with Mrs. Warning, did you advise her that this kind of spending was out of protocol and that this was not allowed?
Yes, when I first encountered the receipts that were in my bin, I did send out an email to her, and I did, matter of fact, the first line item is, "Please do not make any additional personal purchases under any circumstances for the backpack program. District employees must initiate the purchases."
What is the date of that email?
That was December 6th.
Were there any receipts given to you after that, the receipts themselves of purchases were made after the date of that email?
Yes.
Thank you.
Does anyone else have any questions for
Yeah.
Mrs. Warning or Mr. Shaw?
Sure, I have one for Mr. Dice and Mr. Schott. I've been trying to come up with different ways to repair this, if possible. The only one that I could think of that could be viable is the fact that money was given to the district with the intention of using it for a program, a backpack program. It was given by some anonymous donor, and no one knows who this person is because it's anonymous. If that money could be given back to that anonymous donor, and that anonymous donor asked to take some of that money that's been returned to them and apply it towards these bills, these invoices, would that be, tell me what you think about that approach. Is it even possible to
I think that's a
do?
question for our attorney.
I have
Yeah, is
deferred to
that
Mr.
even
Dyson.
possible to do? Would it strike at the heart of what caused the problem? Would it make more problems?
So let me see if I got it right. You're saying
Mon-
Can you give the money
the
back?
anonymous donor would ask for the money back?
No. This board would notice that money was spent on a program in an inappropriate way, and we're trying to find a way to repair that. So we
Yeah,
would
but
give the money back to the anonymous donor and ask them to apply it in order to repair a broken bridge.
Right now, it's Gateway's money. This
Right.
board can choose to, this board, acting as a board, can choose to spend that money any way it chooses to spend it, or reimburse it, to use, I think your word is. It's up to the board.
Okay, so that's the legal answer. I'm not satisfied with the legal answer because the goal is to try to get some food to these kids that need it. And that doesn't do it.
All right, I'm going to direct you to your folder, if you haven't looked at it, is a legal opinion on the messiness of the situation, okay? And there were some questions, you all have this, can be emailed to you. I think maybe we need to go through some of these questions and answers.
Everybody's got that, right?
Yes.
I don't know that you want to do that in a public forum.
Okay,
It's an executive session matter because it deals with personnel.
all right. Well, we won't do that, but he's asking some questions that I think are answered here legally. It's my understanding that we cannot do what he's suggesting.
And that's fine.
Legally.
Yes. So the legal answer is we can't do that, I understand.
Yeah, I mean, it would be, I don't know how you would
Word it.
You would justify it.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Or how you know, Mr. Bove was back there obviously volunteering that he was in fact the anonymous donor. We'd have no way of verifying. We'd have no way of verifying.
He's now asking for a
Back
refund.
to me, and I can straighten this whole thing out.
All right.
Okay, I can ask a question that is not personnel related, and that is, what does the PA school code authorize expenditures for school board members?
And that's outlined in the memo too.
It is, but you told me you didn't want me to read the memos.
Well, okay, there are very specific things that you are able to do. You can reimburse yourself for meetings, trips, any business-related functions that have to do with your acting as a school board representative. You know, seminars, trips, business meetings. You can allocate so much for per diem for meals and things like that if you're gone away. And you see it from time to time on our sheet as we handle this with our employees. It's the same for school board members. That's it.
So if the school district would authorize reimbursement of these receipts to Mrs. Warning, are we putting the district in a bad situation as far as liability? Or are we putting fellow board members in any position of liability? And what position of liability would that be?
Based on a plain reading of the school code, you can only give to board members for those reasons that I just outlined. It's not because a board member goes out and spends money that he or she thinks is well-intended. And I don't think anybody at this board thinks that the money was spent other than for well-intended purpose. But the problem is it doesn't fit within the school code of one of the reasons why you can reimburse a board member.
So if we vote to reimburse and it's not an authorized, what are the consequences?
Well, as set forth in the memo, as Chelsea wrote it, there can be a surcharge to the members that vote to do that.
What is a surcharge?
Well, it's exactly what it sounds like. Any resident, any taxpayer within the Gateway School District, which is Pitcairn and Monroeville, could bring an action in court to have you individually pay back that money that was paid out improperly. That's a surcharge.
And can the district be surcharged in addition?
Sure. If I was representing that person, you'd be suing the district and the individuals. You personally.
Well, how much of this food's left?
With what has been purchased, all the food has been used, and they just I just put an order in today through the Greater Pittsburgh Food Bank, which we do have an account with, that hopefully should last us to the end of the school year.
Did you just say that you put an order in?
Which we do.
I'm not clear on that, because I'm just sitting here listening to him say to you that the district employees have to handle purchase for the backpack program, and you just said that you just put an order in for food today. Could you please clarify that?
I talked to Mr. Schott. He gave me I believe it was a W-9 form to give to the food bank to fill out, and it was set up.
Well, I think those orders, if I recall, you mentioned that that's free donated food.
No, the
that's
actual
ordered.
food that has been purchased through the food bank. Jen Hoffner, Karen Montgomery, and Aaron Smith all have access to that to go in and order. So there was no credit card, it was just to be on a build-to basis.
Yeah, because I was under the impression that those were donations from even talking
There are
from Jen
donations,
Hoffner.
there was a lot of donations.
Okay.
And then there are that they need, what is sent home?
Because we've never been billed, from
No,
them.
I want you to go ahead and ask your questions. That's not what I meant. I didn't want to end the discussion. I don't want to be the only one asking questions here.
As what is sent home every Friday with these students? They have 2 breakfasts, one for Saturday, one for Sunday. They have 2 lunches, one for Saturday, one for Sunday. It goes to the students at the elementary schools that have been designated as being recipients. We have also had calls from Westside Middle and the high school to have food. There has been families that are in need of food that has accommodations have been made with that. That has been with the donated food, nothing that has been with the purchases.
I'm trying to wrap my head around it. So, this is pretty messy. There's some assumptions being run here that we've got to stop running off assumptions. And what I was saying, stop is, go ahead.
Paul, you've heard what Valerie has said. Are you two on the same page with these things or not?
No.
Meaning?
Paul
No,
Schott.
we.
Oh, no, I know, I was answering for him.
I'm
He's
sorry.
not.
Neither, Paul.
Okay, and what's off the page?
Well, as far as, yes, we do provide different entities W-9s. That's a standard protocol for an entity to set up an account. And that's typical information we even collect as well from entities. But as far as with the Greater Pittsburgh Food Bank, the district has not received any invoices from them, related to the program for that. I've not received one. I think the only one that was included was one that you had submitted for reimbursement that was in the PAL. That's the only one I've ever seen. From talking with Jen, I was under the impression that quite a bit of that food was basically being given as free for that, which when I heard that made sense because I haven't seen any additional invoices for that. If it's been a number of months, and typically an entity is going to bill, it's going to be once a month, looking for payment for that. So again, other than the one invoice that was submitted for reimbursement, I have not seen any, so I didn't have any issues assuming that that's what that was donated food towards the program that they were able to make available. So again, it made sense.
Paul, who submitted the bills that have been paid?
Those were submitted through our purchasing protocol. So say, for instance, we have an order through Aldi's. One I was looking at here, I have it right on the top. Jamie Dumich in my office would initiate the purchase online or call them. Jamie McMullen would go and pick that up. He would have his procurement card. It would be swiped. That would initiate the payment. The receipt would come back. And then when we reconcile our monthly procurement cards, we have the receipt, we code it to the proper account, tracking for the program, and that's how that
Yeah,
operates.
but who, did Jen order the food and then submit it to Jamie?
I'm assuming someone would have given it to Jamie to initiate that. That I would assume would be Jen since she's in charge of the program.
But you're not sure.
No, I don't, the information I have with the receipt doesn't show who initiated that, other than I know that we initiated that.
And where is the food stored? Where do we keep all this food?
I think some of it is temporarily, my understanding, at University Park until it goes out. If they can't take it to, I think one of the churches where some of the packing
Reformation
is done.
Church gets all the food, the donations and everything, because that's actually who does the packing. They have different groups that come in. Last year, we were able to pack the 67 students that we had at UP. We were able to pack them. But with over 300 students now, it's quite an on-taking to do that. So Reclamation Church has graciously volunteered to do the packing every week.
So when you bought all this $8,000 worth of food products, how much time was that from when to when,
Well,
roughly?
I would say the program started going home October 25th. I believe the purchases, I'd have to look at my receipts, in September.
So it's from September to maybe December-ish or January, you purchased this product and then you took it to Reclamation Church? Is that what happened to it?
It went to University Park, and then Reclamation Church approached us and asked if they could do the packing. So then everything was transferred over to them.
Okay. Okay.
Well, I'm pretty frustrated here. It sounds like my wrinkled idea is the best thing that I can still see to do, and that would be to try to send some money back to that anonymous person and have them try to repair it, because I don't see a way for us to
How are we
repair
gonna
it.
send money to an anonymous person? I would just like to
So
know
what do you
that.
think about that, Mr. Shaw?
I think that's an impossibility,
Why is it an impossibility?
because who is the anonymous person?
So there's no note on the check that
Nope.
describes who the person was? Okay,
No.
so that
It's a
makes that-
cashier's check, right?
that makes
Yes, it was a
that
bank check, there's no way to trace it
impossible.
back.
Okay, I understand. Thank you.
Yeah.
What was your comment?
Exactly that.
Thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Bova, just as a recollection, I remember when this donation was accepted, and I didn't necessarily make us think about it, but I did raise the fact that I was not comfortable with an anonymous donation, that, things could get murky down the line, and I believe you came at me in the middle of that meeting, so
I'm sticking to
apology
my
accepted.
story. No matter where
All right.
the money came from, the issue is how it's being spent,
Right.
not how it was collected. So don't go back in time, Mr. McIntyre. You were wrong complaining about a $20,000 donation then.
He's
You're
sticking
wrong
to it.
now. The
Well,
problem is how it's spent.
Go ahead, Mrs. Delaney.
I guess I wasn't on the board when things probably initially started, so I can't speak into that. I guess I'm still just trying to understand, we did get a donation of money from someone to use at the discretion of the school board, and...
The
if it-
district to use, let's clarify.
Correct.
The district to use.
Well, the district to use for programs such as the backpack.
Correct.
So we didn't obviously go through the proper channels or protocol, but the money is still available that could be applied to
Correct.
The backpack.
the backpack.
There is $20,000 allocated to the backpack program in the general fund of the Gateway School District.
Okay. And are we saying basically because the protocol wasn't followed through in terms of these receipts that we cannot apply those receipts to?
The problem is that, I'm going to try to summarize, I think. The problem is that Mrs. Warning has good intentions to help kids in poverty, which we all admire. Nobody's questioning that. The problem is that she overstepped her duties as a school board member and purchased products without permission on behalf of the Gateway School District and then sought reimbursement, which legally, there's question on if we are allowed to reimburse a board member for said purchases. Because, in essence, Mrs. Warning is now doing business with the Gateway School District. It's almost like she's acting as a wholesaler or give me another word. An agent, a buying agent, because she's buying and selling things as a board member, and there's a potential ethics and duty violation that we as board members are not allowed to work for the district, we're not allowed to be employed for the district, we're not allowed to do business with the district. So we know you're not technically doing business with the district, but on paper you are. And the other problem is that you assumed because there was a $20,000 donation that it's not taxpayer money. But legally, when money comes into the Gateway School District and it's received by us, which it was a donation received by us at a board meeting, and it went into our general fund, it's all taxpayer money according to the law. So even though we have money for the backpack program, when we reimburse you, we can't really distinguish that. So what you have done unintentionally, I believe is totally unintentionally, is put the district and your fellow board members in a really bad situation. You have set an extremely bad precedent because none of us should be buying anything for the Gateway School District and then asking for reimbursement for that. We shouldn't be buying anything.
Or donating
Or,
and asking for it back.
Correct.
If I buy a lawn tractor and donate it to the baseball team, comes to property in Gateway.
and you shouldn't get it back.
Right.
That's exactly right.
So now we're all
Doesn't work.
sitting here wondering how to rectify this
And we
because
can't.
you've basically just donated $8,500 to the Gateway School District, and we don't know if we can pay that back to you.
Now, tax-wise, if that's a personal donation, she's able to write it off, right?
We would have to
could-
accept it as a donation.
We could give her a letter thanking her for her purchase of food for the backpack program in the amount of $8,600. Could we do that?
Write-off.
It would be acknowledged in the same section we have on the agenda this evening we reviewed with the other food donations.
I mean, maybe if this program was run through the Gateway Ed Foundation, it would be different. At one time, we had a foundation, a charitable foundation, which was separate, but that foundation is not in operation right now. So the backpack program is being run by the Gateway School District. Did I summarize that? Okay. Is there anything else?
I still have some concerns about that. I mean, where is the food stored? Is it stored safely?
Reclamation Church is
No.
locked up.
Does it need refrigerated
No,
or?
it's all non-perishable.
I got one last question. I think. Going back to the new food order purchase for the food bank there, is it possible to track down who was the one that submitted it? Paul?
I told you I did.
Oh, yeah, I mean, with the paperwork that you have.
Not from the paperwork. I'd have to check with Jamie and see where the contact came from for that.
Okay.
For this. I mean, and ongoing, like I said, we've made 3 already that I'm aware of that has come back in terms of receipts for that. Is how I was able to tabulate that amount of money.
Okay.
Are we sure that Jen is the only one allowed to order?
Well, Jen, and there's a number of teachers, again, that she has been able to work with. We have the 2 counselors. There's another teacher over there at UP as well. Yeah, it's kind of like a committee team of district members. But again, the team collectively goes through my department, the business office, to procure those items for that. So we can ultimately control that. We do that with everything. That way, if someone submits a purchase, whatever it may happen to be, you know, if there's something that we know down here that we either don't want you to make that purchase, or maybe we've changed something with that purchase, we can stop it. You know, we control it. We control it every step of the way for that. That's why we utilize that function for that.
Anyone else?
By the way, this is the first time I'm seeing this manila folder here. It was written 15 days ago, so it would have been helpful to have gotten a copy of it a little earlier.
You have until next week to review that, sir.
Very good, thank you.
Okay. Is there anything else? Shall we move on? Think about this for a week? Okay.